Is Chaz Surratt, what does he have to do to be a good linebacker?
He just came in yesterday and was. We had a player interview and player exit on things that he needed to improve on. God has blessed him with great ability to run, and I tell you, to do what he did in the spring with one wrist. I mean, you know, he had a pin in his wrist, and he was really just playing with one hand. And the fact that he went out there every day and he never complained, he never made any excuses. He went out there and competed. Now, what does he need to improve on? We went through a list of things, from his eye discipline to being physical at the point of attack. But I get that. The more he's out there, the more he's out there on the field, and the more he's in the film room, the slower the game will become. He sees it like a quarterback sees the game. I mean, he can diagnose a play pretty fast. It just right now we got him running up the backside of a 5 technique or backside of a 3 technique, not knowing exactly where he fits. But when he does know where he's going, he gets there in a hurry. The fact that he talks football on a high level to you tells you that he's going to come in and do all the small things in the offseason to make himself into a competitive football player. I like where Chaz is at. I like what he stands for. He's a player that his care factor is a plus 10, and he's going to do everything he can to make UNC football a better team.
Talking to a lot of the players this spring, one of the consistent names that keeps popping up is Jeremiah Gemmel. They had a really good spring. He's someone that really kind of surprised even some of his teammates had.
I tell you what, and part of the interviews when we walked in, it kind of shocked me too that came up as well. And you ask the kids, give me one player that you trust and you respect. And unanimously, his name kept popping up over and over again. When I was here last year, I was coaching the safeties. And I kept asking, does he have a care factor? Does he have a pulse? I never see any excitement from him. But I wasn't in his room. I wasn't in the room when Coach Eck was in the room with him. And I didn't know what a treat he was to have in the classroom. The young man speaks football on a really high level, and the fact that he can see everything on the football field it really gives you an asset. Ask the guys who they trust. It's going to be him over and over again, from D. Ross to John Smith to any of our guys up on the front. They really trust him because they know exactly where he's going to be. They know there's a comfort level to knowing that he's going to fit plays right. He surprised me. I can honestly say that the fact that when I'm in the classroom and he's just asking questions, not afraid to say, Coach, that doesn't make sense. Can you explain it again? The way he sees the game is like a 3rd or 4th year starter. So I'm very pleased on where Jeremiah is at.
What's been the positives and challenges to recruiting under when Mac Brown came back to Carolina? What's it been like, and how have you seen maybe a shift between last year and this cycle?
It's different. As a player, and when I came here back in 1989, the communication thing was a lot different than it is now, of course, with telephones and Instagram and Snap and all that. Coach is one of those guys that's really up to date. Even though he's been away from the game for 5 years, he's up to date on all the latest social media, from the Twitters to what they're putting on their Instagrams or what somebody's saying in interviews. He's cutting edge. What's different now that I think has probably changed from before is the fact that he was on ESPN, and I think that's even sharpened his communication skills. Coach has always been a great communicator, and always been a guy that can walk into a room and had that magnetic effect on everybody. Watching him now, just how he talks to the 18-year-old and 19-year-old is pretty dynamic. The fact that when I walk into a room, no matter which family it may be, it could be somebody from a higher socioeconomics to the lower socioeconomics to black, white, doesn't matter. I've been in rooms before where the conversation was always the same, and it was well scripted. You're gonna come here, you're gonna get a great degree, we're gonna take care of you like my family. It's all the same thing. Everybody says the same thing. Coach Brown is unique in the sense that every story is different when a kid comes in the room. So it's not a rehearsed line. It's an experience. So he walks the kid around and walks him around the office and moves him around, show him the things he's done. Ask kids questions some are very difficult to ask, some are uncomfortable. And then just as a coach, you were learning to have his style. So now I think coaches on our staff are kind of following his lead to the fact that get off your script, get off the same things that everybody else says. Because one thing that 18-year-olds do, the fact that we're in this mass communication deal now in today's game is social media. Whatever you say is going to be compared and shared with other kids in that same peer group. So for us, the challenge is how can I be different than the other 100 and some coaches out there on the market? He's given us that ability now of just watching him and learning through him the power of communication and the power of talking to young people. That's the edge I think that Carolina has that's different than it has been in the past.
Tell me as much of a part as you were of some great defenses and coaching here as a GA and a full-time coach here, and defense has definitely fallen off here the last several years. How much does that aggravate you and irk you, and how much is that a motivation to help turn it around?
It's still player. It's always been player driven. You got to have playmakers. In the past, when I got here last year, again, so many games, and I've never experienced losing games, maybe 4 or 5 games in the last drive of a game, and that happened, over and over. Was it fatigue or just on the field too long? Was it mental assignments, mental busts, missed tackles? It's a combination of everything. And part of today's game with the tempo offenses, it's easy to predict where you're at. When you're running that many plays and that fast, teams get pretty simple to figure out where you're at. So it's easy for teams to attack you. The thing that I like about what Jay Bateman does on defense is the fact it's multi-fronted, it's multi-coverages on the back end. You never know where a squat corner is going to be. You never know where the rotation of a safety is going to be. You never know what front the front is going to be in. So there's hesitation. If the quarterback can't just up and just throw the ball 1,001, 1,002 and throw it on rhythm, then now that kid has to be an actual quarterback. When the people upstairs can't look on the sideline and say, okay, they're in this coverage, and tell the quarterback exactly where to throw the football, that becomes different for a cue. So the fact that we're doing so many more things on defense, and it looks so sophisticated and complicated, especially if you're on the other side of the ball. I enjoy what we do on defense now, and I think the fact that last year we had so many injuries, and you never want to use injuries as a crutch. But the fact that we're going to have back when the fall comes back around, the fact that we're going to have a Miles Dorn that's going to be 100%. You're going to have a Strobridge that's 100%. You're going to have Miles Woolfolk that's 100%. You're going to have guys that it's been a long time since we have actually had a defense that we can say that, okay, we actually got all our guys back. You took one guy, if you look at across the country from last season, most teams would be devastated if just one guy got hurt. We've had that unfortunate bad luck of getting guys hurt in the past. This year I feel for the first time when we walk out on defense and when fall start, for the first time since I've been here, well, you know what, we might give ourselves a chance. Miles has played a lot of plays. Stroh has played a lot of plays. AC, was banged up last year. He's played a lot of football. And the fact we're going to have those guys back, with the young guys that we had, like a Trey Morrison that was out there playing last season. The fact that we have a D. Ross that's played, a lot of football games for us and a lot of experience. The fact that the Gilmore has stepped up his game to the fact that he can now compete with a John Smith for the starting linebacker position. Defense is something now I think kids, because all the different multiple fronts that we're running, the fact that now they got to come in and study the game and got to be in your office and talking football. That's the difference that I see. I see the fact that kids now are learning a new defense. They come in asking questions. They come in and want to talk it. They want to learn it. So, it's not line up 1 or 2 different fronts and just say, okay, we're going to be the best at these 1 or 2 fronts. We now have to be actually have to be pretty good at multiple fronts and multiple coverages. So that's the difference, in my opinion, is the fact that with Jay being here and the defenses that we're going to be in, it's going to give us a competitive edge against everybody we play.
Aside from the schemes and the playbooks, what are the biggest differences in the way that this program has changed in these years?
It all, in my opinion, well, in the years from what year to what year?
Well, no, just from this year, this spring, to the way it was in previous terms, 20 years.
You got to remember this is my fourth stint here as far as, I played here in 89 and 92. Then I came back as a GA in 99 and 2000. Then I came here as a coach from 2000 and 2005 and 2009. I can tell you this is what I've noticed from the time as a player when I got here. In 1989 when I got here as a player, the culprit was bare. There weren't many Division I football players on our team. And the fact that it wasn't a surprise, and it shouldn't have been a surprise that we ended up being 1-10. Probably could have won 3 or 4 games, but we still wasn't a team that was very talented. My last season, when we went to the Peach Bowl in 1992 and won the Peach Bowl against Mississippi State in Atlanta, golly, you start thinking about all the draft choices from Rondell Jones to Tommy Smith to Austin Robbins to Bracey Walker. You can go on the line of just a number of guys in the NFL that played and had long durations in the league. So just going from that level from 89 to 92, what was the difference? Well, Coach Brown came in and he changed the talent pool. From when I came in from 99 to 2000 as a grad assistant, Coach Brown had went to Texas, and there was a lack again of players, and we didn't have a dynamic quarterback during that time. So just watching that time as 2 years as a grad assistant, we were okay. We weren't dynamic. If I remember, we went to the Las Vegas Bowl and won the Las Vegas Bowl, but we still weren't dynamic in all phases. So when Coach left here in 1997, I think, or 96, as I remember, I think there were 10 or 11 ball games. From on out, when I came here in 2005 and 2009, under John Bunning, we were talent deficient. Coach Davis walks in and again increased the level of the playing pool in recruiting. In 2010, and in my opinion, I was at Auburn at that time. In 2010, I really believed that North Carolina should have played for the national championship. They had the best players in the country, and especially on defense. If you had the Robert Quinns, the Marvin Alston, Deontay Williams, the Cerceys, it was very similar to when Coach Brown left in 1996 and 97. Those two defenses are almost a mirror with the Copels kids and the Peppers kids. Those two eras kind of mirrored each other on the talent pool of players that they had. So to go fast forward again, so I come in here this last season, very similar, okay? So as far as the number of draft choices shot down. Now you're seeing Coach Brown in his first year, in the first 6 or 7 months, 3 or 4 months he gets here, we go from 90-something in the country in recruiting, and we shoot up to at least, I believe, 30-something in the country in recruiting. So the difference is, and it's always going to be players. Do you have players on defense? Do you have a difference maker at quarterback? And I think now when the difference when you ask is, what do I see that was different? Well, the guys that won here always changed the talent pool. The talent pool of players always increased, and with the increase, it became a lot more wins. Happened coaches last year. Happened during Butch Davis' time when he was here. So pushing forward, what will be the difference this time? It'll be the fact that Coach will win the state of North Carolina in recruiting. He'll dominate the area as far as high school relations, and also in the areas from Virginia to South Carolina, and then start pulling out of Georgia. And that's been Coach's always his draw. The fact that he can identify talent. He got Darryl Moody. Moody's on staff. Sparky Woods on staff. Has a really good recruiting base of guys that can play. We don't just chase the 5 stars. He's chasing actual football players. So the difference will be that. It will be increase our talent pool here, and you're already seeing that happen before your eyes. The energy that they come on campus, again, if you probably could have felt that during the spring game, it was actual real energy when the kids are on the sideline. And the fact that they go to other places and they talk and they communicate on what a great time they had. Well, when they communicate that in the day's game, usually the word is spread and more kids will come, which will end up being, for us in the long run, better players that will be able to actually touch our campus and probably have a good chance of coming to UNC.
Got time for one last one? Okay.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.